Hello, everybody. My name is Giancarlos. I'm here today with Ahmos, and today we are going to be talking about the Encuentro Film Festival on the Lowellian. Ahmos, please tell us more about yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ahmos Diaz. I'm actually a Lowell native, born and raised here throughout my whole life. I'm actually a co-producer this year for the El Encuentro Film Festival. This is our third annual year doing this film festival here in Lowell in partnership with Middlesex Community College. And so typically, what we typically like to do is we basically go and recruit local talent, right? The purpose of this is to really serve underrepresented Hispanic Latino talent nationwide, but we really prefer local talent, of course, right? And we want to make sure that they get the spotlight that they deserve. So anyone that is particularly behind the scenes, whether they're costume designer, makeup artist,
People who usually aren't in the spotlight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I feel a lot of the times it's mostly the producer, the director, getting the credit, and of course the main actors, of course, and also supporting actors too. So we want to definitely embrace every part of our Latino culture during the Spanish Heritage Month. Yep. Making sure that whether they're front or behind the camera, that they get the recognition that they deserve. Even if their name pops up in the credit, right? Doing camera operator, cinematographer. We want to make sure that, that person gets represented, and this film festival is for them.
Yeah. If you don't mind me asking, could you tell us more how you, initially got involved with the film festival?
Yeah, so I was reached out by a wonderful lady named Michelle Rivera. You might have known her around in Lowell. She's definitely a good real estate agent, but also she's a woman of the community. She was truly, impactful in terms of like how she called me. It was through a networking event, and she reached out to me. She said, "Hey, I know that you have a business, Truth Marketing Studios, and I know you love film. You went to school for this stuff. I'm trying to really represent the Hispanic Latino culture through, film." And I said, all right, that's something that's great, and I jumped on the project the first year. I joined actually in the second year of the El Encuentro as a judge. And this year now I'm co-producing it along with her. So, we're dividing and conquering and doing a lot of the stuff behind the scenes, really making sure that we're, finding the great talent. The platform that we use is Film Freeway. So typically what we do is we open up the gates in January, and we give them from January to August to send out their film. Then we go through our judging throughout the months, and then we'll notify them right around September and let them know, hey, your film got selected. We're going to select and play your film at our El Encuentro Film Festival. And then from there, our film festival is a little bit different. It isn't the typical like, hey, you pick, the movie that you want to see. It's more of like a rolling 90-minute of all these short films that we see from a lot of our local talent. So it makes it interesting. And it's also interactive and engaging. So like typically last year we had, a salsa crew dancing and all that. So we had the performance. This year we actually have a film director that the film that we're highlighting is called Bailando. And it's directed by Michael T. Films. He's also heavily involved within the Lawrence community. He is a Dominican director, and the film Bailando, let me tell you, a 20-minute short film, but it's definitely relatable and enjoyable, and I think it really brings into the culture, especially around the Spanish Heritage Month. It really talks about how a guy fell in love with a dance instructor who teaches bachata. So it's really, really awesome.
It's a fun love story.
Oh yeah, definitely. Fun love story, very funny. I think people are going to find the little quirks and little stereotypes and stuff like that they'll find, and it's pretty hysterical. But it really gets to the point. It kind of reminded me of Honey. And Dirty Dancing, a blend of those two, right? But in a new modern age.
Yeah, definitely. Would you like to tell me more about like your motivation behind the film festival now that you are a co-runner, correct?
Yeah,
like
co-producer,
co-producer?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my main motivation is to really, growing up in Lowell, I've always felt like, how do I get myself involved, right? I went to Neshoba Tech, and I graduated there from television media production, and I wanted to continue it. Then I jumped into broadcast journalism, and I went to Franklin Pierce for that. Then I got my master's in marketing and jumping into, Emerson College and learning a lot of the stuff behind the scenes of marketing, but also understanding the film industry as well. So I basically majored in film production and then also minored in acting and directing. And so for me, it's always been a passion growing up and and I love movies. That was my thing. Like I think I treat life the same. I think that we're all individual people with individual stories, and each one of our stories have an important theme and message that we want to communicate and share. I've always had that mentality growing up, was if I can learn through another man's mistakes, I'd rather just do that.
Yeah.
But sometimes you also got to just live it for yourself too, right? So it goes hand in hand. And what's really important for me is just sharing the culture, the stories, and getting into that climax scene. And sometimes we get into ourselves, and caught up in our own storyline, and we're like, how do we get through this? How do we jump and conquer this initiative that this problem, this challenge? It's like right in our journeys. And sometimes I find inspiration through film, and I think film is a reflection of how we live in today's society. So I'm all for it, and I'm super passionate about it. So that's what brought me here, and I said, why not bring it to the community and showcase our local talent and take it up a notch, because I don't think Lowell ever done like a film festival like this, especially consecutively. So for me, it's just been a great honor to work with Michelle Rivera and really work with the crew and our judges. We also have Charlie Alejandro. She's from Beantown Stady as well, so she's been doing a great job behind the scenes and judging the film. We have Andres Gonzalez as well. You probably know him as Dramatic. He has his own production company as well. So wow. Honestly, like it's been great. It's been a great crew this year.
Yeah, sounds really good. So. Yeah. Going back to the film festival at whole, like, could you explain like what films you are looking for in particular, and if you could you give examples that you screened in previous years?
Yeah, absolutely. So, particularly for me, I like movies that actually, it's a short film, captivate my attention. Hit, if you have to make me cry, make me cry. If you got to make me laugh, right? And you got 20 minutes to do so. And so for me, one that stuck out from last year's film festival of El Encuentro was Dream Carriers, and it talked about the evolution of immigrants and this Mexican woman, how she grew up consistently, and it was comparing it to the monarch butterfly. Yeah, and it was just something so beautifully done, cinematography wise, just like the storyline within itself was something to me that I highly enjoyed.
Really well executed.
Yes. Really to the point. And it talks about the struggle of coming, into this country as an immigrant and giving that POV. And so to me, we got a lot of films like that. We have a lot of documentaries, for example. There was one that was called Como el Agua.
Yeah.
Documentary.
So it's not just a narrative film festival. You accept all forms of media.
Oh, yes, we do. Yes, we do. Like we've gotten certainly horror, romantic comedy within itself, action, you name it. So we get all these different types of films. Yeah. We got a director from New York that came in last year as well, and he came in and he was talking about his documentary, talking about just music and jazz and like New York and Hispanic culture. And to me, that hit it home with the audience. Yeah. So it's a very interactive film festival as well. So it's not like, we leave the judging for the judges. We also give the audience the ability to also vote on the best film as well.
No, I like that. Going back to the documentary you're talking about, I want you to finish that piece.
Yeah, absolutely. And so really it was talking about music and this man, Ruben, who was really all involved in his music, and just touching the drums, you know what I mean? Talking about his life story and how he participated in different like salsa bands and like behind the scenes. And it goes it's very grounded culturally, with the roots of bomba and plena and all that good stuff. So it's like, to me, it hit home in so many levels, and it was a well shot documentary, and it was a great story to tell, And so we inspire people. If you have a great story, put it in a movie, put it in a short film, and share it with the world.
Yeah. Speaking of that, who exactly can't submit? Like, do you have like restrictions for that, or is there like also an age constraint? Like, who are you looking for to submit their films?
Yeah, absolutely. So if it's someone that's under the years of 18 years old, they obviously need a parent consent, with the film and all that. Definitely no nudity, anything like that, anything crazy, too heavy drug use. There's a certain extent that, we can allow, but like, of course, it has to be done very well professional. Yeah. Right. And making sure that if the film is in another language, so not only, we open it up to Spanish, Hispanic, but also Brazilians, right? With the the Portuguese folks. We got to make sure that they are also included as well into this film festival. So anything that comes in, dubbed in another language, we want to make sure that it has subtitles. So definitely those are some of the...
These subtitles are in English? Do you also offer them in Spanish, or is it just in English?
It would be just in English. So if they speak in Spanish or in Portuguese, they would definitely have to have English subtitles.
Okay, cool. You've already discussed like the timeline for submitting films, but what about the film festival itself? Like, what dates is that usually run, and when will that be running this year?
Oh, awesome. So typically, the judging and notification time happens around this month, September. But next month, right in the middle of like Spanish Heritage Month, we typically aim for this festival every year. So this year it's going to be October 4th and 5th at 7 p.m. We will be both showing the same film. So if you can't make it Friday, you can certainly come Saturday, and vice versa.
So
giving people the opportunity.
It's like a one-day film festival, but you repeat it so that way, people who don't have the availability, they can hopefully make for it.
Yeah. And in the past, we've done it differently too. Sometimes we've shown different films and stuff, but based on like our surveys and what we collected from people are like, hey, I would love to see that movie on day 2, but I can't make it on day 2. So, is there a way that we can just put all the films in one day and kind of just repeat it? So we were like, all right, this year, let's try something different and test out the waters that way. Yeah. So they can come in 90 minutes, followed by Q&A of the director and the movie crew from Bailando. And just as an FYI too, the movie stars Arlene Laura, and so she's a Lowell native herself. So that just even brings it back home even further.
A lot more locality.
Yes, for sure.
If I were to submit a film, why would I want to, go out of my way to submit it to Encuentro Film Festival as opposed to just having it on YouTube and hoping that it gets seen there? Yeah.
Okay. No, absolutely. I mean, number one, there's cash prizes that you win. So like if you won best film, you get $200. If you won best cinematography or, you get a laurel, like the typical, film festival that you normally would get around. But you also get exposure to different elites within the city as well, because sometimes we get a lot of folks.
You can build connections.
Build more connections and networking, right? So that's really like what it's all about, is just, again, showing the underrepresented, Latino, Hispanic filmmaker the ability to, network and connect and start building their dream, right? If this is something
giving them more of an opportunity to reach out. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And providing them the tools to do so.
Yeah,
I really like that. So you've already talked about when the film festival is taking place. Where is it for the folks at home so they can, when the date arrives, October 5th, correct?
October 4th and 5th, yeah.
October 4th and 5th. Like, where's the location at? And like, how much is it to enter? Is it a free film festival?
Absolutely. So it's going to be held at the Middlesex Community College Theater, the Nancy Donahue Theater, right on 240 Central Street.
All right.
And so it's $15 general admission, and it's also $10 for students.
Okay.
So we kind of give a student discount there. And also, all the funds that we get usually goes into a Hispanic Latino scholarship fund. And again, this is powered by Unitas. So Unitas is an organization that focuses on Latino students that are in trade, education, and the arts. And so all of it is really funding a scholarship opportunity. So it completely gets back into the community.
It's a constant loop of giving back to the community and especially to the underrepresented.
Absolutely, yes. And that's the goal.
I really appreciate that. Wrapping up, tell the folks at home how they can keep up with, El Encuentro Film Festival.
Absolutely. I mean, give us a follow first and foremost here. So you can find us at the Unitas page. Also, you can follow my page at Truth Marketing Studios. And then also our website, elencuentrofest.com. So any information, I know that soon we're going to be deploying and showing out what we're going to be showing soon. And so that way people have an idea of like, what they're into and what they're going to see for that night's showing. So we really look forward to having you there. And again, Friday, October 4th and Saturday, October 5th at the Nancy Donahue Theater at 240 Central Street, Lowell, Mass. And we look forward to seeing you there.
Awesome. Well, this has been, once again, my name is Giancarlos. This is Ahmos, and this was the Lowellian. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Cheers.